Road to Glory mode since the return of college football games has been mediocre at best, failing to capture at minimum the amount of admiration that NCAA 14 even had. 12 years later, and we should have an improvement on the version that we had then, right? Well, at least we did get some improvements, but unfortunately for us, not all of them were well received, and the ones we did want didn't get delivered in the best way possible. So today I want to discuss what I think are the biggest issues with the version we have of Road to Glory today. But I'm not the type to just criticize the way something is done without offering a solution to the problem. So I want to try and solve these issues in a way that I think the community would genuinely appreciate. This video will also serve as a more condensed version of the Road to Glory specific wish list that I'm putting together. As here, I just want to focus on a few key things that I would like to see changed, as opposed to everything that I want to see us get eventually. Let's start out with the length of the mode. I want to start here because that was the biggest complaint about College Football 25, that it lacked the high school portion of Road to Glory. So they took that feedback early on and already showed us that they care about the product, which we do appreciate the effort. But I would argue that almost no one wanted high school brought back in such a limited capacity. Now, I do like the idea they have with the moments we play in the game, so we're just going to stick a pin in that and come back to it shortly. I believe that most people wanted to see, at bare minimum, you getting to play your full senior year of high school, and I have to agree with them. But quite honestly, I believe that it should be taken further than that, and I think that we should be able to start as a freshman in high school. The option to create a prospect that you want from an introductory star rating and initial ratings perspective is already there. And the option to skip the high school portion altogether is already there, right? Then why isn't the option to play more games present? Road to Glory is the shortest single player career mode experience in comparison to all the other major sports games. We pay $70 for a full experience of a career mode, and in college football, we only get that for 4 full seasons at best. That's just unacceptable to me. I think giving us 1 full season of high school is the bare minimum to that. A good portion of this community that supports this game has no intention of ever purchasing a Madden, myself included. And I understand that their full intention behind the marketing of these 2 games is get both so you can move your player over to Madden. But Madden as a game hasn't appealed to me in a very long time, mainly because of how poorly the product has been received due to how it plays, but more so because the NFL is about the player and their individual performances, whereas college football is more about the schools and their rivals, with the emphasis on building that program up with new talent year after year. But that's besides the point. The college football experience starts the moment you decide to play high school football. If you are talented enough, you will start getting scouted and even recruited as a freshman. We should be able to experience the full life of a high school recruit. For maintaining eligibility, think GPA, so schools like Stanford or Duke won't recruit you if it's too low. Going on visits to schools, attending camps at those schools, and regional camps like Elite 11, which would also increase your exposure to other schools who you previously weren't on their radar. And also playing in some sort of All-American game. Imagine that hat ceremony that we have now for picking a school, but the option to committing during an All-American game. But majority of the things I just mentioned happen between your sophomore and junior year of high school, and athletes can start taking official visits at the start of their junior year. We should be able to experience more development of our recruiting class. Start to see how teams are filling out their incoming classes and allow more time for decommits and flips to develop. Show me a scenario where I'm ranked as the number 1 recruit in my position, but I commit to a school that has already secured another top 10 player at the same position. I want to see that guy then decommit and go somewhere else because he really cares about playing time. Now, like I mentioned earlier about the moments, that should be an option for those that don't want to skip the high school portion, but also don't want to play a full slate of games either. Play the Moments was introduced in Madden 17 as a way to speed through seasons. I've seen online where guys are finishing the high school portion in 26 in under an hour, and that just doesn't sit right with me. If we were to get a full high school career, but only be able to play the key moments of the game, we could realistically have an additional 6+ hours of gameplay on average. And I would be perfectly fine with that. Plus, I have to admit, the scenarios that they have come up with have been pretty creative from what I've seen thus far. Now I understand that this sounds like a lot, and it should. We paid a premium price for this game, and we want to get our money's worth. There are some people that only buy this game for the Road to Glory mode, and they should feel like their money is well spent. But also remember this, the framework is there to skip all of this anyway. Just like how you can start a Madden career mode without ever touching Road to Glory. But unlike in Madden, we cannot have 15-year careers. We are stuck at 4, and that's just unacceptable. Problem number 2, it's not engaging. This mode needs more story to it, but not a story mode. Just follow me for a second. Branching scenarios that lead to different situations and outcomes depending on on-field performance. I'm not talking fully animated cutscenes and voice acting here. Heck no. The current text-based interactions work perfectly fine for this mode. Picture this. Each position in high school has a different chain of scenarios for each archetype at the position. And each of those archetypes have branches that could trigger based on if you hit the milestones for completion or not. Each of them could have small story moments that are unique to the archetype that could also outline potential hurdles that a guy that plays that specific style at that position would have to overcome, as well as some generic life stuff that could also happen too. I believe these branches could help determine things that you encounter in the mode, like your standing on the depth chart, chemistry with your teammates, potential NIL deals, which schools recruit you, the trust that your coaches have in you, and potential position switches as well. I think a pop-up as a pure runner quarterback that asks you to play receiver for a few games while your starting receiver is sidelined with an injury would be so sick. Or possibly being forced to switch positions because your school hired a new coach and he wants you to play in another spot, so you could choose to follow through with his decision or sit on the bench and transfer out at the end of the season. The choice is yours. Some of these things are already present in the game, and I believe just needs to be fleshed out more, with more dialogue leading up to it, during and after. There should be more long-term benefits and consequences to your actions. I want to see more outside the ball field stuff happening. These artificial players are still considered people, aren't they? There should also be more balancing the student-athlete life. And this is why I propose we also bring back the girlfriend mechanic from NCAA 06. Now I know that it's basically a meme at this point, but I feel it can be brought back with a purpose, instead of just having the superficial picture hanging up in the dorm room. Turn it into an entire mechanic. There could be scenarios that pop up relating to you dating someone, but just like in real life, those commitments come with their own set of benefits and burdens. Let's just say the game presents you with a scenario to pick between 2 different companions to start. One of which is studying sports medicine and teaches yoga, so she significantly reduces the amount of wear and tear that you take during the game, as well as help you recover at a faster rate. But she's very needy when it comes to your off time, sometimes causing you to miss workouts and film studies. And the other is really into school and is the daughter of a former coach, so she also helps you break down film and study your playbook, helping you build awareness and coach trust. But it's really into outdoor sports, so much so that when you go with her, you tend to get banged up and go into games with some wear and tear already affecting you. And there could also be scenarios pop up that prompt you to break up with these people over the course of your college career, and vice versa if you miss out on too many opportunities to spend time with that person. And these potential breakups have their own consequences and benefits. Like, take entering the transfer portal, for example. Realistically speaking, your girl can't always just transfer with you. There's more work involved for her to transfer. Alright, now this wasn't supposed to be an exact layout for how I want that scenario to commence, nor a dating simulator for that matter. but you get the idea. More outside factors should and could play an impact on your days throughout this mode, and we should see more benefits and consequences for our actions. Quick side note, your players' parents should also be present in these scenarios in some shape or form. I've been watching these videos from the people who got to play the game early, and I'm really disappointed every time I see the senior night animation take place and your player is just running onto the field with a bouquet of roses in his hand, and he has no one to give them to. Problem 3, no position diversity. Both Madden and college football need to get on the same page with this. I understand not being able to play as a lineman or a kicker, but there is no reason we should not be able to at least play as every position on the defense, and tight end for that matter. Quite frankly, I would like to also see the O-line get some love, but I believe they would need to work on the individual control scheme for controlling those linemen. But on defense, we have the ability to user control every one of those positions. So that should be the next priority. Aaron Donald is one of my favorite players to ever play the game of football, and I would like the ability to create a player that plays just like him. And some of the most important guys in the defensive unit nowadays are the ones who go after the quarterbacks on every play. I'm just saying, giving players more ways to play this mode is never a bad thing. But I understand that in order for that position to be able to be used in Road to Glory, it has to be compatible with Madden Superstar mode. So this is one of those ones where they will have to rely on getting the okay from a completely different team, and it may be out of their hands entirely. And finally, the lack of replayability. I believe my branching scenarios framework would also help alleviate the issue of this mode just not being very replayable. Outside of trying new positions and trying to go to a different school or 4, this mode really isn't worth grinding multiple times. Granted, it is short enough to get through multiple times. I just don't see the added value in doing so at this time. If I had the opportunity to go back and have a different experience based on the choices I made, I would be going back time and time again to see what the additional outcomes are. It also would help if we had the added positions to play at least. But if you combine that with the branching scenarios, then that would lead to enough possible outcomes to leave people playing this mode almost until the next game was ready to be announced. With all of the distractions and alternative forms of entertainment we have at our disposal today, the key barometer of success for a video game company is not just sales, but player engagement. Initial sales figures make shareholders happy, but eventually, if the game does not grow, then those sales figures will become less and less. Look at Madden over the last few years. But take a game that is a constant engagement over the course of its cycle. Those consumers continue to come back to the game throughout the year because there is something new for them to experience for the first time, or at least in a unique way. As you can see, a lot of the issues I have with this mode are kind of intertwined with one another. The fact that the backstory needs more depth and could stand with being more engaging could help the issue that I have with the mode being too short. And addressing all of these will help with replayability. There isn't a one-size-fits-all approach to fixing all of these issues, but tackling these problems as a whole will undoubtedly lead to a better, more entertaining product. But I'm really interested to know what your guys' opinions are on the Road to Glory mode. Do you think it's fine like it is, or does it need tweaking? And if so, how would you change it? Please let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoy this type of content, please like the video and subscribe so you don't have to miss out. I want to thank you guys for watching. Stay blessed, y'all. I'm out.